Hello everyone. Sorry about the delay getting started. I had a couple little hiccups getting this set up, but we should be just about good to go now. So we're playing first a short hike. There's actually several different games that we've got queued up from the Humble Originals collection. Looks like they are all kind of a bit out there, very particular sort of weird. But they all look really interesting and fun, and they're the kind of games that wouldn't get made otherwise, and that's exactly the sort of thing that I like to play. So, just super weird stuff. So this is a short hike. Looked it up, it takes about an hour and a half, so we're probably going to play this and then move on to something else after a short break. So, let's get started. I never get tired of this view. Claire, you're gonna have a great time here this summer, I think. It'll be good to get away from the city and take a break from everything else going on. Are you still awake? Maybe. Hold on a little longer. We're almost at the ferry. A Humble Original by Adam Robinson. New with music by Mark Sparling. Oh, this is very pretty. Okay, I can jump. And I don't seem to be able to do much else except jump. Can I jump onto things? Oh, a little bit. Oh, I can glide. Hello, how do I talk to you? Okay. Hey, how's it going? I haven't seen you all day. You been busy? Kinda. Well, not really. I've just been waiting around for a call. Well, there's your problem. There's no reception out here. Wait, what? Yeah, I mean, pretty much no reception. You might be able to get some at Hawk Peak. Oh, yeah, I guess. That's pretty far, isn't it? That's not that far. We've all made the trek before. I figured you would have gone already. Oh, yeah, I've been meaning to go, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. Well, today's as good a day as any. Just take White Beach Trail and head north at the fork. Then follow the signs for Hawk Peak. No problem. Hawk Peak really is wonderful. You're going to love it. Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. It's quite a hike, sure, but our family has been going there for generations. Yep. The hot springs at the peak create these amazing updrafts. The feeling of flying up there is incredible. But isn't it kind of dangerous? Not really. It'll be no problem for you. White Coast Trail and the Ranger's Cap. Okay. So I guess I have to fly over stuff. Claire! Did you know? You can hold Z while running to glide through the air. Of course, everyone knows that. Why do you ask? I don't know. I just had a feeling you might want to know. Okay. Oh, brilliant. Make it on my first try and then fall down when I'm just goofing off. Let's see, I wonder if... Okay, so I can come over here. I found a coin. What are coins for? Who are you? Do I do anything with you? No. The way this camera moves is really nice, actually. Sorry about that, just have to take care of something real quick. Oh, hello, friend. Hey you! Find me 15 shells! What? Why? I want them. Yeah, but why? It's a secret! Okay, I'll keep an eye out. Keep both eyes out, please. Guess we're looking for shells. And sticks. Okay. Oh, I can hit stuff with the stick. I found one shell. Is this a shell? No. Okay, I don't like that the camera doesn't necessarily show you where you are. A little bit annoying. Here's Kevin. White Coast Trail. What is this? Can I come in here? No. come down here? Yes, I can. There's a show. Oh, something else. I think I just stole somebody's wallet. Oops. Oh, this is really cute. There's something there? No. Heyo! How's the day treating you? Well, I'm just getting out of the house now. It's one of those kinds of days. Yeah, I've been kind of caught up in my head all morning. Would you say you feel lost and directionless? Maybe. Well, I've got just the thing for you. Take this. I found a compass. To use it, press space to open your inventory, then select it from the items menu. Oh, thanks. This should come in handy. Happy hiking. Nice. Chest with coins in. Okay. Can't quite leave the same way I came in. Whoa. Guess I'm going to swim now. Poorly. Poorly jumped. I do actually really like this like flight mechanic. I should probably be playing this with a controller because the Hey dude, what's happening? Oh, you know, just jamming out on the beach, building sandcastles and whatnot. Sounds like a good time. You know it. Can I borrow a shovel? Sorry, but I need it for sandcastle construction. Isn't it a little big for that? Yeah, but that's just how shovels are. You can get smaller ones, made for sandcastles. What? Sounds fake. But if you can show me one, I'd be glad to trade. Okay, so we get... Ah, okay, so there is actually some depth to this. Okay. Alright, can we get out of the water? Thank you. Hey there. What are you up to today? I'm hiking up to Hawk Peak. That's a tough hike, you know. You'll need to learn rock. Wow, I can talk. Why not join our rock climbing club? Oh, is it just the two of you? Hey, the Rock Climbers Association has hundreds of members spanning over 35 countries worldwide. Hundreds of members growing and refining the art of rock climbing, pushing the craft to its absolute limit and beyond. I meant, if it's just the two of you, like, here. What of it? Listen, kid, climbing ain't for the weak of heart. Most people don't have what it takes. It's not really that bad. So anyway, do you want to join the Climbers Club? Yeah, sure. We've got a third member. Not third! Just another drop in the hundreds worldwide. Alright, anyway. So first things first, you got a golden feather? Oh, not yet. Ah, you can't climb without one. You can buy them at the visitor center. They should be pretty cheap. Come back when you've bought one. Okay. Guess I have to go and find the visitor shop. Good grief, this expanded very quickly from just a simple exploration type game to lots of side quests. Okay, coins. Ooh. Let's go down this way, I guess. I've heard some rumors. Do you like rumors? I dabble. Okay, hear me out. Jim just bought a metal detector. He was running around yesterday looking for stuff around the island. It was going nutso. Seems like there's stuff buried all over the island. What kind of stuff? I don't know, metal stuff? I mean, to be honest, I kind of guessed. More coins just randomly laying about. There's stuff that I'm pretty sure is interactable objects that I just haven't gotten to interact with yet. Howdy, how can I help you? I heard you sell golden feathers here. Oh, we do. You can buy one for 40 coins. What else do you sell? You also sell provincial park merchandise. We're kind of low on stock, but that's good, actually. It's been a busy season. Provincial parks must be trending or something. That's possible. Anyway, we only have one hat left. It costs 100 coins. No, I'll pass, but I do want that feather. Sure, here you go. Let me explain how they work. If you press Z while in midair, you can flap your wings for a double jump, but that's not all. To climb a wall, push against it and hold Z. The more golden feathers you have, the more you'll be able to climb and fly. Have fun out there. Okay. Ah, I understand. Haha, it is quite effective, actually. Alright, yeah. Yeah, I probably should be playing this on a controller. Blah. It's okay. So it looks like as you collect more of these, like you'll be able to just glide further and further with each jump. Which is cool. That's a neat little way of adding that progression of your capacity. Okay, so I guess we're going for the hat then? I like that the feathers just stay in the world, that's really cool. Very classy. Hawk Peak Trail, notice. A strenuous hike, you might need golden feathers to complete it. Okay. Right. Why don't we just wander around for a minute? I don't want to get too sidetracked. But, I do want to explore what this game has to offer beyond just simple completion. So we've got the toy shovel, which means we can get the big shovel, which means we can start digging up those little dig spot things. Got 5 shells so far. Who are you? What's your deal? Marathon race at Meteor Lake. Don't think I probably want to do much with that. Oh, you look interesting though. Hey, what you painting? Oh, you can't tell? It's supposed to be the coastline. Though I'm trying to go for a more abstract look. I think I can see it now. It's still a work in progress, but I don't know if I like where it's going. I think we're going to head over to the Blackwood Forest Lighthouse soon. I'm still trying to find the right inspiration. Okay, can we get up here? Because there's a chest and I want it. Can't get up there yet. I'll need some more stuff. Oh, so this is interesting. If you're not pushing a direction when gliding, you just sort of fall. It's so satisfying to be able to do that, just to zip around. Yeah, so it looks like you can't climb the big wall yet, since we only have the one feather, and it looks like they run out pretty quickly. Hey, check out the shovel I found. It might be a little more your size. Oh, that's perfect. Let's trade. Okay. Nice. Okay. Oops. That away. Okay, so there were coins buried. I wonder if there's any more stuff around here like that. Ah, dynamic music. Oh, I love dynamic music. I dig this up. not so much. Okay. I feel like if I go back to the start, there's probably going to be something there, but I'm not gonna bother. I really do like this glide mechanic. It's really satisfying. I was planning on hiking to Hawk Peak, but the path suddenly got really steep. Do you think it's climbable? Well, it would be if I had a golden feather. Apparently they sell them at the visitor center. Well, as a matter of fact, friendo. There you go. Okay. Blackwood Trail, Hawk Peak Trail, Visitor Center, White Beach Trail. Okay. Hi. Hi! Are you okay? Not really. I'm supposed to run a marathon race today, but I've lost my lucky headband. I've worn it to every race I've ever run. I don't know if I could race without it. Where'd you lose it? Somewhere in Blackwood Forest, I think. I could take a look for you. Really? You'd do that for me? Sure. It's a red headband. I can give you a reward. I can give you a pair of running shoes. Don't you need those yourself? Well, I just got sponsored by this shoe company. They gave me like 10 pairs. Whoa, congrats. Oh, thanks. But, let me know if you see a red headband. Alright, yeah, sure. Or just jump in a river, that's fine too. Okay. Yeah, see where I'm going super well, but that's fine. I feel like I'm already off track, I've gone to the wrong trail. Is there even... That rock up there is like sparkly. Oh, I can't make it up there yet. Okay, so if I come up here... There's like a picnic ground, another painting person. Hey, it's you again. Yep, classic me again. So, what do you think about this so far? Whoa, this is really good. It's like better than real life. Well, I don't think I can compete with real life, but I am happy with it so far. I don't know if it'll fit into my exhibit, though. I'm trying to come up with something more interesting. I'm going to follow one of the rivers up to its source. I have an idea for a painting from that perspective. Well, we have enough money for the hat. If we want a fancy hat, I guess. Ooh, lighthouse. I can see my house from here. Hey, Aunt May! Yes, Claire? Yeah, it's me! Can you hear me up here? Sure can. Oh, okay! Have fun up there. Yeah, I will! So, what you doing? Oh, you know, the usual. Okay! Cool! Cute little interaction. Oh, crap. Okay, well, I guess I'm going back down to the bottom. Oh, crap. Okay, let's get back up to the forest. I still want to find that headband. I feel like no matter what I do, I'm going to get sidetracked by something, so I may as well get sidetracked by something that I get a boost for. Oh, weird question, but where'd you get that headband? I don't know. I've had it for ages. Why? Well, I was just talking to this rabbit. She said she lost her headband somewhere in the forest. Oh, you mean Sue? Maybe. I didn't get her name. She was really worried about it, though. She said it was lucky and she needs it to race. I'm supposed to race her later today. She's so talented, I've really been looking forward to it. What if I gave you mine? I'm pretty sure it's the same kind. Maybe she wouldn't notice? Oh, but then it wouldn't be lucky? I don't know, just take it, see if she wants it. Okay, I suppose that we will do that. Well, I found this. That's not it. The sweat stains aren't in the right place. Ew. Where did you find this? Actually, the turtle gave it to me. They said you could have it. They're looking forward to the race and didn't want you to miss it. What? Really? Taylor the turtle? They're like the regional champion? This headband has to be like at least twice as lucky, possibly even quadruple lucky. Okay, I'll take it. I'm so pumped. Take these running shoes. I found a running shoes. You can hold C to run with them. However, just keep in mind that running requires golden feathers. Yep, I mean, it sure does. We can come around here. I mean, that was a nice view. Not sure what the point of tilting the camera around for that was, other than just to make it look kind of nice, I guess. The way that the camera tilts around really is lovely. It's definitely not perfect, because there's a bunch of stuff that, like, I'd like to have a little bit more control over it sometimes, but I do really like just the way that it sort of slowly reveals the world. Ah. Come on, I did this a second ago, come on. Yeah. Okay, I guess I can't do that. Alright. What about up here? This is where we were when we found the lighthouse, and then we got sidetracked and fell down. Here's a coin. Other than buying that hat, I'm not sure what they're for, but it's giving us quite a lot. Meteor Lake Overlook, Hawk Peak Trail, and Blackwood Trail. Alright. Oh, I hate leg days. Running is my life. I run marathons all around the world. Okay, you're long gone. Okay, clearly there is a race minigame. Meteor Lake Overlook, Hawk Peak Trail. Okay. Well, this is really lovely. Good creek path. So I think I'll probably head back down to Meteor Lake at some point, because I'm guessing that's where the rest of the seashells are. Somebody's left breadcrumbs. Made out of money. But in fact, I might want to do that pretty soon if there isn't an easy way back down from here. The Helianthus dissultantis rubber flower. The official flower of the provincial park. It blooms instantly in flash flooding conditions, inflating like a water balloon. Experience it for yourself with the park's communal water buckets. A bucket full of water seems heavy. I don't think I can fly or climb carrying a bucket full of water, but I could probably still glide. Ah. Okay. So I think I understand what the game wants me to do with this. Just need to figure out where I am. Okay, I haven't seen this area before. I have no clue where this is. Just don't want to hit anything because it'll drop all of a sudden. Oh, okay. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. Oh my gosh, camera, please. Why would you do this to me? Little tiny sandcastle. Wait. I actually have water in order to use the water. Where was that sprout down here? There it is. Well, that's quite a distance. Oh! Almost. Almost. Let's just do that. Get over here a little bit faster, I guess. It's a very efficient mode of travel. Oh, and that's how I get to stuff like this. Cool. Alright, alright. You know, the vibe that I'm getting from this game reminds me a lot of Hilda. Really a lot. It's very much that same kind of, like, childhood adventure. We just... oh, okay. The world has an edge. Okay, got another bucket full of water. Let me go find a sprout. I feel like the game will probably kind of nudge me towards where I need to be for these. But not very aggressively. Oh, yeah, I'll have your hat, by the way. What kind of merch do you sell? I'll have a hat. I have a hat. Why don't you try it on? Where? Looking sharp in that hat. What's up? Can I buy a golden feather? Oh, you can keep buying golden feathers. Never mind. Okay, so we have to find more someplace else hereafter. It's like a camper van, I didn't see that before. My hat and I are on an adventure. Whoa! My word, that's quite a jump. Oh, whoopsie. Okay, let's fill up again. And up we go. Into space. Oh, I think I might have to ditch this water in order to get up any further. Oh, nope, never mind. Alright. It's not the direction I wanted to go. Oh no. Where am I? I'm stuck on a tree. Oh no! It's fine. Okay, there we go. Let's pop that open. Oh, hey, a golden feather. Cool. Oh, alright. You get to look closer at this lovely little shader that they've used. Well, that looks really cool. I really like that. Like fades out into a drawing. Lovely little concept. Now, what is this thing that I have found? Where actually am I? Doink. Outlook point. Okay. Ah. I see what it is. I've got myself off track by going to the top of this spot without necessarily going to the top generally. Cool. Alright. Upbeat trail is straight ahead. Sweet. Oh, and that's where I was before, I think. Dude. Hey kid, you want to buy some golden feathers? Yeah, okay. Cool, it'll be 80 coins per feather. That's twice as much as the visitor center. Yeah, okay. Probably shouldn't have bought the hat. 7 golden feathers. Okay, well. Oh, hey, buddy. This painting isn't working. What? I like it. Thanks. This park is special to me, but I don't think I'm gonna impress anyone with these. Hey, I'm impressed. I mean, like, leave an impression on anyone. I have to show people that I'm achieving something worthwhile, like, academically. I heard there's a graveyard in the shadow of the mountain. I'm gonna try that next. Whoa, what was that? Why do they all freeze like that? Oh no. Oh no. I think I understand how that works, and I don't like it. When you get too cold, you can't fly anymore. We're not going to do that, because that's going to just get me chucked off the mountain. Which way? Okay. Alright. What's this? What's this object here? Like a fence or a wall or something. It's weird. Okay, so we need to find more money. Yeah, look, more money. And then use that money to get the little con man to give us his feathers. You know what I've just spotted? There is another one of these flower things down here. Oh, not quite. That's okay. there's like power lines over here. Huh. I don't think I've been over to this side yet. Speed first! Talk later! Immediately stops speed. Okay, so we're back to Meteor Lake then. In that case, I think we're going to want to come down here and see if we can complete the weird little side quest for shells. I know an omen when I see one. I have 2 sticks now. Hmm, 10 shells. What's this? That is literally nothing. Okay. We can grow this flower. Get that done. Boing! What's this ball? Equip that. Okay, can sort of push it around a little bit. I was so hoping. So I'll just leave that floating there for now. The absence of anything else obvious to do with it. 95. Getting there. We'll need 160 to get both of the feathers that we need. And more, obviously, be better. Got a pretty decent amount of height with just these. Yeah, how far can we go just on this? Dang, that's a pretty good amount of height, excuse me. I want to investigate over here because this looks interesting. Okay, so there's another flower there. I'm trying to work out how I'm going to get up and down here. Okay, I think I see the path that it wants me to take. Okay, alright. It's raining and that makes me feel vaguely unsettled, but that's okay. Pickaxes, I guess? Oh, I have seen a couple of, like, sparkly rocks. Maybe these work with those. Ooh, there's an indoors and an outdoors. Or possibly it's just a fast travel. Okay, that's fine. It's taking me all the way back here. Okay. Hello, friend. Excuse me, do you have the time? Yeah, let me check. See, normally I would know the time, I just lost my watch. Oh, sorry. It was very expensive and priceless when you consider the sentimental value. I see. If you find it, can you bring it back to me? Sure. Please don't sell it on the internet or whatever, it's very valuable to me. Oh no, don't worry, I'll bring it right back. Ugh. Okay, thanks. Hmm. That bucket. Okay, alright. It's pretty decent range, honestly. Oh! Nice. Okay. Oh, dig spot. Alright, let's see if there's anything else of interest up in this area. Kind of guessing not. But that is a complete guess. Okay, so where do we want to go from here? Alright, that's good, I think. What's down this way? Not 100% sure I can get back, so I want to be a little bit cautious here. Looks like I should be able to get back up there pretty easily. $13. Good, good, good. Where actually am I? I have not been here before, I don't think. It's a very pretty little game. I like this. Very pleasant to be here. And let's bucket some water up there. Doot doot. I think that's clever that they put the bucket icon down there so that you can tell that you don't have your golden feathers while you've got it active. Wow, you can really get some height off that. It's not like that though. Alright. Okay, that's the route we want to take, and then we'll come up here. Great. Alright, that'll let us get around to here, and then we can kind of platform our way around the side here. That's really neat. There's a surprising amount of exploration to this and like discovery, which I'm liking so far. It's really nice. Yeah, not gonna make that anytime soon. Doop-de-doop. Seems like they were pretty good about mostly keeping these flowers right next to water sources, so you don't have to go too far in order to get them. Get them watered. 15. All right. Now at this point, with 15, do we want to keep going up, or do we want to go back down to the bottom and find the guy that wanted these? Okay, so we can get back up to Outlook Point pretty easily. That shouldn't be an issue, I don't think. So let's head back down and hand off all of these seashells. Oh, golden feather. Oh my. got 6 of them. There's the weird guy. He should be like right over here. Yeah, there he is. Got your shells. Ooh, I'll take them. So now what? What? I mean, do I get anything? No! Geez, not even a thank you? That's not very nice. I do what it takes to survive. I never promised you anything. Actually, I do have something for you. A new job. I already have a job. Well, make this your side gig. What if I don't take it? It's your loss. Good jobs are hard to find. So, what'll it be? I'll take your side gig. Good, take this. You found a shell necklace, and deliver it to Ranger May. That is all. Okay. Home again, right? I've got a delivery. It's from Jen. Oh wow, it's so pretty. She's such a sweet girl. Collecting all those shells must have been a lot of work. Well, actually, never mind. Oh, I remembered something. I found this golden feather in the cabin. I figured you could use it. Ah, nice. Oh, thanks. This is weird timing. Is this like a reward for delivering the necklace? No? Huh. Ooh. Just spotted something. Boink. Oh, I almost had it. Got enough for those extra feathers. Just in case. And for a complete standstill, that's pretty high. Hello, weird toucan person. Yo, this updraft is on point. You can get some sick dives on it. How do you dive? Oh dang, it's easy, but it takes some practice. You gotta hear me out. First, you gotta be gliding, as you know. Glide by holding Z, then if you're high enough off the ground, release all our arrow keys to dive downward, but you must remember to still hold Z. That's the tricky part. Build up a lot of speed. Yeah. Okay. Up we go. Goodness me. Easy to do, hard to keep control while doing. Is there anything else I care about over here? As it turns out, the answer is yes. Ooh, I can pickaxe this down, can't I? Where does this one go? The way forward is blocked. Okay, well, so somewhere there's the other end of that. Ah. For some reason I saw this and then I immediately forgot that it was here. Oh, okay. Get another bucket. Boing. Grab these coins. And then we'll come up here properly. Okay. So we sort of came up here a little bit and didn't really pay attention to what we were doing, but that's okay. Ah, this music is great. So adventurous. Treasure map. Less a map and more a bunch of riddles. It says, his vessel was lost on the water, but the beacon found and caught her, so he buried his trade at the end of its shade. Keep safe for the Lightkeeper's daughter. I am probably not going to take the time to figure out what that means. I assume that it's a location hint. But yeah, I'm not gonna bother with that. You gotta get water to this, but it looks like you can only really do it from above. Which we may actually be able to do. Okay. Oh, if the controls only wouldn't reverse right there, that might be helpful. How nice of it to take time to load a message like that. I'm not sure I follow. What message are we talking about? Wait, I'm an idiot. Hang on. Is it just like showing you a commercial or something? Alright, I think probably I am wasting my time messing around with that particular flower. So I can just come up around this way and... Oh, yeah, the cave, yeah. Well, I mean, it made sense. It's, you know, you have to actually, like, go in there to find out that the way is blocked. Maybe it was a silly use of time, but I think I understand why they did it. Instead of just having it instantly check. Oh my gosh, can we make it? No, we can't make it. Okay. Oh, almost. Oh, okay. I know I can get up there, I'm just not sure how. That's probably going to be best. Okay, alright, cool. Oh, don't be like that. Don't freeze me up right there. Okay. We gotta come up here at full. Oh crap. Oh, this is the hot spring, isn't it? Okay. And that unfreezes you. Cool. Alright, I get it. Great for buying stuff and feeling secure. Oh man, I mean, you're not wrong. Sure, I'll carry a stick. Okay, let's see, where am I headed? Five. Oh, man. Hold on there, young friend. I hope you don't mind me saying, but you seem a little unprepared. It's mighty cold up here for folks who aren't accustomed. I didn't expect it to get this cold. My feathers are freezing up. Hawk Peak is unique in the province for geothermal activity. If you get too chilly, stop at one of the hot springs. That should give you back your strength. Cool. I literally worked that out for myself seconds earlier. It looks like campfires do the same thing. So So I want to avoid jumping too much on account of it drains out my stamina. But I will climb up this because I'm guessing there's something buried here. Yep. Cool. Come back over here, recharge that, and then carry on up the mountain. Oop. Okay. Not really sure why I'm collecting coins, other than just to the unpleasant fellow with the trailhead to give me more feathers. Okay, so I can get up here. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't go anywhere where I can't come back from. Ah, this looks like something. Ah, neat. All right. So that's lost me 2 feathers. 3, 4. Oh man. Okay. So I can still glide without any trouble. So I can get over here, for example. 3, 4. Oh, crap. Oh, no. Let's see. How do I get up here without using as many feathers? Let's go left first. Oh, it's still freezing. Oh, crap. Okay. Let's see, there is... I don't think I can. Well, I'll come down here and refresh my feather anyway, but I was trying to figure out if I could get a bucket of water over there, because you can glide, but you can't jump or climb. Like, you can't multi-jump or climb if you've got a bucket of water. E5. Hey, buddy. Hey, it's you again. We're almost at the top, but it looks like the bridge here collapsed. There might be another way up, or I could just go collect more golden feathers. Can I make that into? Or what's that at the lower right? I can glide down here. Hey, neat. Alright, so that's where this is on the other end. How far can we climb? I doubt if it's going to be enough, but let's see. Ooh, yeah, not quite. I'd need another 2 feathers at least from the looks. Yeah, let's come back around this way. Oh, this music is wonderful. Yeah, there just doesn't seem to be a way up there. At least not without more feathers. Let's... Yeah, I have to have at least 1 feather usage to get up here. I don't think I have another way. And that is a problem, because that means that I can't get the water up there. What about over here? I haven't really been this way yet. Ah. Is this our mystery? Yeah, that's where it led. Cool. Where to now? That's the question. It's kind of always the question. So I know where I can get at least one more golden feather. And I might just have to do that. I'd like to get the lay of the land up here first, see if there's another way. What's this down here? Is there anyone down here? No? Okay. Just a random, well-tended campfire. Okay. Right then, what about this way? So we can get up here from there. This is again with only gliding, not with... Oh, that's it. That's it. I understand how to do it. Okay. And that gives me 5 feathers to climb up this. 3. And here we are. Okay. Bucket. So we now have water. Let's try that again. He said we now have water. Okay. Which means we can pull from there. And bring this over here. So now we can use that to climb much more easily. Good. Now let's see how far we can get carrying water. Probably not extremely, but we'll see. Yeah, okay, that's not gonna work. I made it across there, so this is new territory now. 2, 3, nice. Alright. Yo! Oh, phew! I did it! This is a cutscene, by the way. I don't have any control. Yeah, okay. Cell phone reception! Hello? Hi, Claire. Mom! I'm so glad to hear from you. I've been waiting all day to hear from you. I've been worried. Oh, honey, I told you I'd be fine. Yeah, but you always say that. I always am. Anyway, how have you been? Well, I'm at the top of Hawk Peak right now. Ooh, wow! I love it up there. May and I used to go up every summer together. It's about time you made it up. Yeah, I know. You're so big now. My little girl's leaving the nest. You won't have any need for little old Mom, but I do need you. I'll never not need you. When I heard about the surgery, how come you never told me this was a thing? I didn't want you to worry. But I know you can get worked up about things. I could have been there for you. You're all alone there now. Really, it was nothing. Everything was fine. I'm just glad you're okay. I love you, Mom. I love you too. Wait, something's happening? Oh. Was that the famous Hawk Peak updraft? Looks like it. You should catch a ride on it now, before it fizzles out. I wanna, but I'm kinda nervous. There, you can do it. I'll come visit you soon, okay? Also, don't forget to say hi to Aunt May for me. She's probably waiting for you back at the cottage. Bye, love you. Love you too, Mom. Wow, that's really cool. It's really lovely. Very cute little game. Don't really know where I'm going, and also I don't know where I am. But wherever I'm going there real fast. Here we go. So I actually want to be just like right over here, I think. This isn't the right place. But I was right next to the start zone, but apparently not. A lot of flowers here now. Was it like this before and I just missed this area, or did the map actually change just then? Oh yeah, I definitely haven't been here. Back to Hawk Peak Island. Oh. Ended in the wrong place. Whoopsie. And this is where I was trying to be. Hey, did you make it to the top? Yeah, it was really nice. I can see why you like it so much. Though, it wasn't exactly a short hike. Good title drop. I'm really tired. Haha, well, maybe that was a bit of an understatement. Only a bit. You hungry? I'm gonna break out the hot dogs soon. Well, I'm kinda tired out. I'm gonna go take a nap or something. That was cheesy. I mean, I don't think cheesy is an unfair description, but it also felt sort of real. At least to me. Oh, I almost forgot. Mom says hi, and everything was okay. That's great to hear. Your mom is a tough bird. I knew she'd be alright. I'm really glad I came. It's been nice. I'm glad you're here. You can visit again anytime. I think it'd be nice to take a break. Alrighty, it's nap time. The end. That was kind of sudden. I think that real life can be cheesy. Made with some tools. Thanks for playing. You're welcome, a short hike. Alright, so I think we'll be done with that for now. That leaves us with a bunch of other games. So we have 20 Minute Metropolis. I was thinking that would be a good one to play tonight. Thor.N, Subserial Network, Ollie and Bali, Flux 8, and Crescent Bay. Crescent Bay apparently is quite short, although it did look a little bit more graphically intensive than most of these other ones, and so it might not stream super well on this computer, but we can take a look. 20 Minute Metropolis is literally capped at 20 minutes, so we definitely have time for that one. I don't really understand what Ollie and Bali is, nor Thor.N, since they're, Thorn and Fluxate both have websites that are currently down, so I'm not really sure what I'm getting into with those two. Ollie and Bali's website had no information about the actual game, and Crescent Bay looked like sort of a mystery game. 20 Minute Metropolis is, it describes itself as SimCity but faster. So I'm kind of looking forward to trying that out. Subserial Network is one that we will not be doing today, but I do want to do that sometime this week. Simply because its logo, I'm pretty sure, is just a logo swap of old Mac software, and it looks like it takes itself way, way seriously, and I kind of love it. It looks like this. So I'm actually kind of stoked. I'm actually really looking forward to playing that. But I do need to take a quick break. I'll be back in about 10 or 15 minutes, and I will change my stream metadata and possibly change the resolution of the stream depending on what the next game runs at. But we'll be back in just a little bit with... oh, no, stop doing that. We'll be back in just a little bit with some 20 Minute Metropolis, and I'll see you then.